Thank you, gentlemen. Hey, y'all.
I'll talk to them all and see your last.
What are you guys drinking this morning? My goodness.
Green coffee.
Oh, green coffee. So it's interesting as I have to say it out loud one more time, as 9 new voting members are stepping up this month. When I first got here, this was a different place, almost. Same building, but just a totally different energy, And so much has happened in those 6 years. And that journey is kind of like our personal journeys when we are growing and expanding and when we're dealing with change and when we're dealing with challenges that come up to us. Because really, when Judy first came to me and said that the board wanted to make a change, she really was coming to me and said, we need help with something. And we're experiencing a crisis, and we need to move forward with some things, but we need help doing that. And, her heart was just fully open, and I said yes to that, and she and I were saying yes to something that I think that the absolute realm, this God consciousness that we were talking about, this energetic soup, Judy and I were open to that. And we heard a calling, and she knew that there was a question she needed to ask me. And actually, there was one other person who brought Judy and me together, and then we got together and we talked. And then the beginning of this was born. Yeah. But Judy and Cece and Maricela and Anne and Marie were on the board at that time, and they were struggling and working hard to make this work. They were. They were keeping it alive. They were taking care of this facility. They were praying about it. They were meeting about it. They were starting to think about what is it that we need to do. And that's what happens when crisis hits. That you're in it and you're experiencing something, and in the beginning you're not quite sure all that it is. All you know is that you're distressed and something needs to be done, and you want something to change, but you may not be clear as to what that change is. You just know you're in the middle of the stuff, and we talk about that stuff a lot. The stuff that hits the fan, and it may not hit all at once. Sometimes, you know that problems grow. There might be an instance, something happens, and it doesn't quite pique your interest until it starts to gain some life. Until it becomes bigger, until there are more instances, and they stack up on top of each other. And then you go from having a tiny little problem or something went a little wrong to a crisis. A crisis. And sometimes we're not paying attention, or we don't want to pay attention when it's small. When we get the prick, and all of us kind of notice things, our brains are always working, and we'll notice things a little bit, and we say, oh, okay, that just happened. And then we go about our business and go about our days. And then a second thing will happen, and you'll go, all right, this is looking like it might be something, but we're still busy. We're still not, the brain may be firing, but it's probably not screaming, danger, 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 Will Robinson, yet. It's not screaming yet. And sometimes I think with our busy lives, we wait until something within us is screaming before we do something. Because when the voice is low, we can distract ourselves, and we can keep busy, and we can keep doing all the things that we need to do, and we keep thinking, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll pay attention to that later today. Oh, maybe next month. Oh, it's not that much of a deal. Maybe it's not what I think it is. When a part of you is saying, yeah, that's something, pay attention to it. But you're saying, oh, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. But your inner GPS, your intuition, God consciousness is already talking to you and saying, oh, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. And you got too much to do to deal with it right now. Or you just don't want to deal with it because you want to put this on because that feels better in the immediate. That feels better. And then we start to get real uncomfortable. The flames get a little higher. Your feet are getting a little burned. You're smelling smoke. Like the cartoons. Yes. No, he's sitting and the fire's starting. It's building up and he doesn't realize it's him burning. And then all of a sudden he turns around and it's his rear end that's on fire and he runs and he jumps in some water. Sometimes the flames have to get a little big for us to pay attention. So what do we do in this meantime? You know, I love George Stallings' book, I Am, because it does talk about the I Am consciousness that is God. And it does talk about that we are that, and that our job is to know that, to affirm that, to live that, to harness that. But what happens in between? When you get from crisis, when you get where you're getting uncomfortable in the heat, and then you get to this realization of the I am, and that, yes, I am a unique expression of the divine. Yes, I am a powerful spiritual being. So in the meantime, it can be messy. Tears, anger, betrayal, denial, tears again, betrayal, denial, less denial maybe, sitting down really looking at it, letting it scare you, being disgusted by it, being disappointed by it, all the range of emotions that encompass sadness and grief, the why me's, the why is this happening now? I need a break. I can't handle one more thing. I've had enough straws breaking the camel's back. I need another camel. And at some point you may have a herd of camel. Because you got stuff piling up and somebody's got to carry it, right? And sometimes it feels bigger than our shoulders because we are uncomfortable and we're restless and we just want to shake it off. We want it to go away. But all of this is the interim work, all of this, because the brain, Stephanie and I were just talking about this, your brain is wired to protect you. Your brain is the one that sends all those signals to say, danger, 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 Will Robinson. And you are Will. Danger, 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 pay attention, something's going on. We need to do something. And in the meantime, the brain is figuring out how to save you. Your mind, your brain is trying to figure out what do we do now. And because of our conditioning, and this is where the ego comes in, the ego has gotten a bad rap. A bad rap, because we have villainized the ego. And we have decided that it is some bad guy that's always taking us down a road we don't want to go, and it's stopping us from being the good person that we want, from opening up our hearts. And it's the ego, the ego, the ego, the ego. If I could just get away from my ego. Well, you can't get away from the ego. The ego is a part of us, a vital part of us. And the ego is just our conditioned self. The brain, the mind that has taken in all of the information that you have digested all of the information that's around you that you don't digest, because the brain holds away some things and brings to you the things that it thinks you need in order to be safe. And so, if based on your conditioning, stuff that happened in your family growing up, things that happened in your early school days, if you have a particular conditioning that certain messages about relationships or love or about how smart you are or how gifted you are, your brain uses that information and wards you away from things that may ultimately be for your good, but your brain says is unsafe. Don't step into that relationship because we've been heartbroken. So let's self-sabotage. We're going to get rid of this person before most of you, your conscious mind even knows what happens. Somebody new comes up and they might be the best thing since sliced bread for you. They might be your soulmate, but if you are still wrapped up in your conditioning that your ego has created, then all you're going to hear is that's not good. Don't go for that. Don't trust that. Don't trust that. Very good friend of mine who was in abusive relationships as a young woman, one which was particularly horrific. When she met the husband that she's married to, when she met him, and he's a very, very good guy, very, very good guy. She could not understand why he was so nice. And he would do things for her, and she would call me. Oh my God, Kim, he brought me flowers. What's going on? I said, her name is also Kim, one of my best friends in life. I said, Kim, I think he likes you. I think he really likes you. She's like, okay, all right. Okay, and then she'd call me later. All right, yeah, the flowers are nice. Okay, but he wants to go out again. And I always ask, why are you whispering? Like, we're on the phone. It's just you and me. You live alone. I live alone. So he's taking me out to dinner to this really nice place, and then we're probably going to go out. He wants to go down by the water and walk around, and maybe we'll go to a club after that. But he told me to get really dressed up, and because we're going to do something special, but he won't tell me details. He's going to surprise me. And I said, oh my gosh, how exciting! What dress are you going to wear? Well, I don't know. What do you think he's up to? I said, I think he's generous and nice, and he wants to do something that will delight you, and he's thought about it, and he wants to surprise you. Well, now they've been married. I've been married 20-some years, so they've probably been married 30 now. And she's very, very happy, but man, she didn't know what to do with that guy when he first showed up, because her ego, her conditioned mind, her brain was saying, danger, danger, danger. He's probably going to beat you. He'll be nice to you right now, but when you go home, he's going to beat you. Or there's some other woman, and somebody's going to call you. This happened to her. Somebody called and said, tell David, I'm getting ready to have his baby. Tell him to come to the hospital. It's time. That's what she went through. That was her conditioning. So yeah, she was running in the opposite direction when this other guy showed up. Of course she was. It took her a few years to relax into that relationship and open her arms wide to that. It took her years to do that. And in the meantime, in those years, she was afraid. She didn't know if she should trust. Every time he did something nice, he just kept bringing the nice. He just kept bringing the nice. All the time. He is a sweet, sweet man. He really is. He kept bringing the nice. And finally, she surrendered and said, man, I deserve nice. I deserve the good man. I deserve love overflowing in my life. I am. She knew herself as that love, but in the middle, she had to go through all of that. She was praying about it. She was reading self-help books. She and I were passing books back and forth. The middle was messy between all that crisis and that abusive relationship to finding a life-affirming, soul-affirming love. She had all that stuff to do. She had to grow into that. She had to let go of some stuff. She had to recondition this mind of hers, this brain of hers that only saw danger in relationships. And she worked with that. And we talked about that over and over and over again. Now she and I can talk about that and laugh about it. Man, those first few years, they were hell for her. In the midst of the good that was overflowing into her life. Thank God he was a persistent man. Thank goodness. But that was the work in between. We got to do the work in between. She started to trust. I do the same thing in my personal journey. But here, when we went through that, Judy learned to trust. This board learned to trust me. We had to have discussions. We had meetings. Some of them were challenging. We had changes to make. We had to change ourselves. We had to grow individually, and they grew as a board, and we grew as a leadership team. And then when that board was done, a new board came in, and they dealt with different problems. And we constructed a business organization here so that we could grow and thrive and have a foundation that we could stand on. All of that took a lot of work, didn't it? So you're in this room. We did do work, a lot of work, in meetings and at home and on our own. And we prayed about it, and we affirmed about it, and we held the high watch for it. All of that work happened in between. Policies, procedures, personal growth. I was growing as a spiritual leader. They were growing as a leadership team. And together we grew and kept moving. And we have to do that in our personal lives. The journey is the same. You start out with the crisis, and then you start working with that. You got to deal with this up here. And all of the conditioning. So we had organizational conditioning here, and we had to get new conditioning. We had to start knowing ourselves as a prosperous, abundant, loving, welcoming, open community. And you know what happened? People would start coming here on Sundays who said, I don't know why I'm here. I just knew I was supposed to turn at that corner and come in here. I saw cars in the parking lot. I want to know what's going on. Most of our visitors were that. People who hadn't been here in years started showing up and saying, oh, hadn't been here 6 years, 7 years. What's going on? All of a sudden, people felt something driving down that road. One of them was on her way to the grocery store. She wasn't even dressed to come here. She was going, she said, she was heading to Target, and she said, and I just turned left and came in here because something said, be here. She said, I'm sorry, I was just going to go to Target and go home. And I said, don't apologize. I said, that's okay. I think she was in sweats or something. I said, it's okay, it doesn't matter. You're here for some reason. That was the journey. And now look where we are today. Look at this. Look at this. Feel this. How open you are. Look at what's attracted here. Look at this music ministry. We didn't have that before. I was singing to performance tracks before. Wasn't that long ago? 3 years. You've only been here a little over 2 years. Yeah. 3 years ago, I was singing to performance tracks. But that's what we had, and that's what we did. And we were thankful that we could do that and that there were people to sing to. And that there were other people who were willing to come, other professionals who were okay with singing with performance tracks. And it worked, but that's what we did, and we were thankful for it, and we knew we were growing to something. I was holding this vision for all this to happen. I was holding a vision. I knew it would happen, but we had to be in that middle area first. We had to be there first, and we had to hold the high watch first. And I had to trust that that was going to happen. I had to trust that that was going to happen. So in the middle, in this, when you're still going crazy and you still don't know what's going on, just keep walking forward and keep your mind open. Even when you're crying, even when you're on your knees, I've been there. I've been on my knees crying, asking for help, saying, I can't do this. I don't want this. Why are you looking at me, Spirit? What the heck? Are you kidding? Don't you know? This just happened, that just happened. Aren't you paying attention? I've had some problems where literally in the middle, I am crying and screaming, no, no, no. Do you not hear me? Do you not hear me? Do you not hear me? And then when I was finished screaming or crying no, and I got nothing left, then I say, all right. You didn't take it away. Stuff's still here. Fan is still on, blowing it this way. You know, I let myself get wrung out. Get it out. Whatever it is, get it out. I don't care what you have to do. Run, scream, cry, clean house, do dishes, whatever you need to do. Do something that doesn't hurt you physically or anybody else. Don't hurl words at people. Don't hurt other people. Write it down, journal, cry, garden. I don't know what you got to do. Figure it out what works for you and do that in the meantime till you get wrung out and all the no's, all of the denial, all of this other ugly stuff in the middle is out of you. And then sit there. Trust me. God is sitting there waiting for you to give that up. Waiting for you to give it up. And then do this. All right. Literally. All right, yeah, come on. It's here. Sun's going to come up tomorrow. Dishes still got to be done. I got to go to work. Got to show up. Or, oh, well, you don't. But that's what I always say to myself. I know that life is going to move on, and I know I just got to get through my human stuff. I don't want to call it the human stuff. I get through my denial stuff and my no stuff and my refusal to look at reality and know that what's in my path is either good or it's good for me. I have to look at it that way. Because if I don't look at it that way, then I am lost. And all I'm going to do is make myself suffer because I'm fighting what is. So I know, I tell myself, this is either good or it's good for me. And then I say, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. And if you have to ask, and I have asked out loud, what now? What do you want me to do first? What do you want me to do? And usually, as we were talking about, just trust me. I'm here. We have everything closer than our hands and our feet and our breath. We have everything to walk forward through, not around, not under, not over, through the fire. And so it might be, just get up and do what you normally do. Sometimes Spirit is working. Spirit knows what you want. You may have just screamed it out as you were screaming no and whatever else is coming out of your mouth and whatever else you're crying through. You may have said what it is that you want. The universe has just responded to that. It may be bringing you something. It just wants you to be open. Trust and be open. And then the affirmation starts coming. I don't know how many times I've had the next book I opened, the next song I heard, the next friend I called, or something happened, the next movie I'm watching, and all of a sudden somebody, an actor will say a line in a movie and I'll go, oh, they're talking to me. They're talking to me. All right, I'm running with that. I could be watching the people I'm following on TikTok or on Facebook or something like that, or on Instagram, and somebody's post will come up, and it'll be exactly what I need to hear in that moment, and I'll take that and run with it. That's my next step. And then I go do that thing, and it may be, usually it's just trust. Just trust. Stay open, stay open, stay open, stay open. Go do that thing. And you keep doing that. You keep doing that. Keep trusting. Another affirmation will come. It always does if you stay open. It's only when you get back to the no, 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 and you might have to do that because maybe you didn't get it all out in the first bout. Maybe you need to go back, scream some more, cry some more, kick a can into the backyard. I don't know, whatever. Whatever you got to do, go do it and get it out, and then come back and be silent again. And let Spirit move you. Let Spirit do its thing. If you don't hear a direction, all you're supposed to do is wait. Live life until it comes. And you'll know it when you see it. You'll know it. That's what the in-between looks like. And finally, this just happened to me this morning. I've been working with something in my consciousness. I'm in the midst of my exercise. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, because I said the affirmation. And all of a sudden I said, oh, something's easier now. And then I went, oh, the affirmation's working. I said that out loud. Me in my back patio. It's working. But yeah, what a moment to be in that, to be in, I'm saying the affirmation because the affirmations are for us, not for God. The affirmations are for us to get us seated and grounded in whatever it is we want. That's what the affirmation's for. And as I'm saying it again, I went and I said it out loud and I went, oh, stop mid-affirmation. It's working. That's how you get to this energy. This is how you get to manifestation. It'll sneak up on you and you'll think, oh, there it is. There it is. When I manifested my first home, I was in there my first night. I just signed all the papers, went to closing. I had a couple of things in my trunk of my car so I could just spend the night. The movers weren't coming till the next day. And I had everything, and I had the fireplace going. I was sitting there. I had my microwave popcorn, and I had a bottle of wine, and I'm celebrating by myself in my living room. I had a sleeping bag and a pillow, and I was going to sleep on the living room floor, and I was sitting there eating the popcorn, and all of a sudden went, goosebumps all over me. This is the moment I had been praying for. And then I was just in tears. In tears. Oh my God, it worked. It worked. But you got to get to the middle. There was a whole lot between first thinking of that I wanted my home and sitting in that living room in front of that fireplace roaring, eating my microwave popcorn. There's a lot of work in between. Do the work. Do the work. If you want. Again, you don't have to do the work. You don't have to. But man, the benefits, the gifts of knowing who and what you are because you harness those tools that we have, those gifts that we have, and then stuff shows up. Exactly how Glenna read it. You went from the subjective and what you're encompassing in your vision, all of a sudden you'll be in the manifestation of it. It came true. It's here in life. And that's your power. And then after that, everything else is easy because now you got demonstration. And then you said, whenever you start to doubt, say, oh no, it happened over there. Happened over there. Yeah, proof. Nobody else has to believe you. In fact, you don't even have to tell them. Just manifest away. They don't have to understand it. They don't have to get it. They can have judgment about it. Doesn't matter. You know the truth. You know the truth. But you got to know the truth about you. But do the work in the middle. At some point, we'll all be enlightened or whatever, or know that we are enlightened. We just talked about this in class. Enlightenment, we decided in my class, is our natural state of being because we are powerful spiritual beings. We are all enlightened if we will choose to be enlightened and know that. And then we'll go from thought, vision, to manifestation like that. No stuff in the middle. We can put away the fan because there's no more stuff to blow. Yeah. Because there's no more pile, just sit in the fan. Asking somebody to bring you chilled grapes. And enjoy life. And enjoy life. Enjoy life. So let's take this into meditation. Breathe deeply, breathe deeply. Most of us, and I would probably say each and every one of us, has something we're working on. We're somewhere in that middle ground between I got something you may be fighting, and you're screaming no, or you're in denial, or you can't see, or you're just tired. You're just tired because the stuff keeps coming. What's the work you've got to do? Is it time to let go? Or just need to have the primal scream? What is it? Have you not dealt with the emotion? The part of you that's fighting the situation? And take some time. Give yourself the gift of sitting somewhere. And let it all out. Your anger, your disappointment, your hurt, the betrayal, the disbelief, your anxiety, your exhaustion, pour it out. Pour it out with someone you trust. Pour it out when you're alone in the quiet. And let it out fully. Every single ounce of it. If you're in denial, give yourself the gift of opening up your eyes to look at whatever it is. But reminding yourself that you don't have to be afraid. Because God consciousness is more powerful than anything in this manifest world. Acknowledge your fear. Pour it out. Say all the things you're afraid of. Even as you're trying to remember that love heals all fear, casts out all fear. Unconditional love. Pour it all out. Let it all go. And then let yourself sit in full surrender in what is, with what is. Do the work, do the work, do the work. Walk through the fire. Knowing that with God consciousness, you cannot be burned. Our fear is that we will be burned beyond recognition. And yet, with God consciousness, in God consciousness, which is us, you will not be burned. And as you pass through the fire, what will be burned away is anything that is out of alignment with goodness and power and strength and abundance and peace and harmony and comfort and vitality. Trust and open your arms wide. Trust and open your arms wide. What's next? What's next, Spirit? What will you have me do or be in this moment? Be still and know that I am God, says Spirit. Be still. Do you not have eyes to see or ears to hear? And then allow yourself to sit in a recognition that divine wisdom is at work in every area of your life right now. Everything is always working out for me. It's either good or it's good for me. I am a powerful spiritual being. And I will bring my spiritual dominion to this circumstance. And when I tell the mountain to move, the mountain shall move. Take a deep breath in. Take a look at that mountain, whatever it is that you have judged to be a mountain. Exhale. Breathe out your judgment of it. It is not too big. There's nothing too big for your God consciousness. Breathe it in, breathe it out. And every time you breathe out, you surrender to goodness and power and might. Let yourself realize who and what you are, where you come from, what is first cause. Take a deep breath. Nothing in the manifest world is bigger than God consciousness. Nothing. Not a diagnosis. Not a fractured relationship. Not loss of a job. Not loss of a loved one. Not a mass of confusion. God consciousness is power. Is power. Strength, imagination, love, life, vitality, enthusiasm, passion for life, wisdom, will, faith, take a deep breath in. Exhale. Be still and know that I am God. Inhale. Exhale. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.